Construction sites are hit by theft early in new developments and often. I'm going to show you the basics of building a threat prevention system that criminals will learn to fear. As you break ground and work starts, so does theft, target identification, and reconnaissance. Now, some people just throw up cameras and hope that they're going to deter crime, but the problem with that is that most of these criminals either work for your contractors or get tipped off by them, so they already know that the cameras can't stop them from stealing your stuff, and they probably know exactly where your cameras are. Another thing is that once the thief makes it out of your construction site with your stuff, you probably aren't going to get anything back. At that time, it's more of a recovery mission and not so much of a threat prevention mission, and we've got some solutions to cover recovery in another video. The goal is to make your site extremely uncomfortable for criminals and get law enforcement on site before the bad guys leave. There are a few things that you need to build a solid threat prevention system: video, audio, lighting, physical barriers, and some kind of a response mechanism. Okay, so we'll talk about video first. Camera placement and choosing the right camera go hand in hand. Identify what you want to protect and find the ideal place for a camera. Don't worry about power and internet requirements yet. Just pick the best placement, assuming you have everything that you need. If you're on a tight budget, focus on all the entry points to the property from main roads and make sure you can at least track vehicle traffic in and out of your site. Once you know what you want to protect and where you want to mount the cameras, you can work with someone like Alarm Transfer to get camera recommendations and make sure your design makes sense. The next thing to add to your arsenal is audio. And people usually overlook this one, but why would you expect to stop anything from happening if you don't have a way to let the bad guys know that you're watching while they're there trying to steal from you? So be careful with trying to automate this one. Criminals will probe your system and make sure that you're actually monitoring the live camera feed. Along those lines, it's super important to think about lighting. Motion activated lighting is cool if you're just trying to protect a tree or something like that, but if you really need to protect your high value assets, you need some more intelligence behind it. We use a combination of white lights and IR lights to make sure that we've got good coverage and color detection at night, and it also serves as a good deterrent. Another important piece of surveillance is getting your target to travel a pre-selected path. You need to create choke points that force your target into the camera's view. Do this by adding barriers on roads and forcing drivers to get out of their vehicles and move the barriers in order to get close to your assets. Don't buy barriers. If you're watching this video, you have access to some scrap lumber that'll work just fine. The idea is to slow down the intruder to give you time to respond and time for the police to arrive. This is the most important part: response. None of the previous stuff matters if there is no action after a threat is detected. When a thief on the construction site knows what they're looking for, they can be in and out within 10 minutes. If you have added barriers, then that really helps, but you have to factor in the time it takes you to get the alert, check your video, contact police, and the police to respond. Alarm Transfer can get police to the scene in 5 minutes, but if you're trying to do this yourself, be prepared for a lot of false alerts, and the need to factor that time into the equation is important. So that's it. 5 steps to build a great threat prevention system that actually has a shot at stopping thieves. You need video, audio, lighting, physical barriers, and some kind of way to respond. If you want to learn more about this and get some details, check out my webinar by clicking the link in the top right of the screen. If you like this video, be sure and give it a thumbs up and share it to help us get more exposure. I'd also like to hear about your experience with all this. Maybe you found another approach that works, and maybe you've had a ton of stuff stolen and just want to get some advice. Just leave a comment below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you get notified when we publish new videos.